Welcome back. You are watching That Car Chick, and today I'm going to show you how to service your car. Okay, you want to make sure before you do anything you have personal protection. So this means gloves and safety boots. You want to make sure they're proper steel toe, so you don't hurt your feet. Once you have all of your personal protective equipment equipped, you want to make sure you start by jacking your car up. If you aren't sure on how to jack your car up, you can always click my video and watch it here on how to safely jack your car up. Once your car is jacked up, you want to get underneath the car. And if you have an under tray, which is normally here covering the bottom of the engine, take the under tray off. We're going to start by draining the oil. And as you can see, my sump bung is here. Before you drain your oil, you want to undo your oil cap so that you allow all of that air to escape and so that it isn't sort of vacuumed, so the oil will drip out easier. As well as taking off the oil cap before you drain the oil, you also want to remove the oil filter housing to again allow the oil to drain out easier. Oh God. Also, manufacturers putting the oil filter housing on the top of the engines or on any upside of the engine is literally the worst idea in the world. They are the most infuriating oil filter ever, because when you take them out, oil will get all over your engine. So if you can, place some rags around it just to prevent that oil going absolutely everywhere. But a trick to not let all of the oil run absolutely everywhere is undo it as far as you can, and then rather than taking it out straight away and letting all that oil go everywhere, just leave it and let it sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes and do other things in the meantime, just to let all that oil drip down so you don't get it all over your engine. Put some cardboard or other similar protection underneath the vehicle so your mum doesn't kill you when you get oil on the drive. And then grab your drain tray and put it underneath. Lefty loosey please. The reason why my oil looks so watery is because I use an engine flush. If you do want to give your car a deeper clean on the inside, put the engine flush in with the old oil, run your car on idle for about 10 to 20 minutes, and then turn it off and drain the oil. The engine flush just takes off all that crap from the outside of the engine and gives it a better clean on the inside. Now, we're just going to let that have a nice long drain. So while your oil is draining, we can do other things such as changing the air filter. Okay, so on my car, the air filter is right here, but normally your air filter can be anywhere under the bonnet. Sometimes it can be tucked back here, sometimes it can be here on the side, but it will always have a big pipe going to it, and it looks like a big box thing, which is your air filter housing, and your air filter will be in there. Okay, so we're going to take the air pipe off. So I'm going to get a 7mm and undo the clamp that's holding the air pipe on. Pop that pipe off, and on my airbox I have a few T30 screws to undo. Sometimes it can be T25s or T20s. Sometimes it can also be actual bolt like sockets, like a normal 10mm or something. Now, service wise, you don't always have to change the air filter. Air filter is normally every 2 years, so is brake fluid, sometimes a coolant change. Normally pollen filter, air filter and oil change I do every year, just because obviously you don't want all the crap getting in your engine. Pollen filter takes out all the bad stuff from your like air vent circulation, and obviously engine oil you have to change every single year or within a certain mileage. Now that we got the cover off, I have revealed the old air filter, which actually does still look pretty clean. But I have recently bought this car, and anytime I get myself a new car, I just like to do a full, complete service on it, just so I know everything's done, my standard. Then you just want to take out any crap that's just lying around in the airbox housing. Grab your new air filter, put it in, and then you can put your housing cover back on. Another thing that you can do, as well as an oil flush, is you can also do a fuel flush. This is just a liquid chemical that you put into your fuel tank and then mixes up with the fuel, and as it goes through all of the fuel system, it just cleans it out and cleans it up. So if you're having slight running problems or things like that, or if your car is struggling and sometimes feels like it's misfiring, you can just put a fuel flush in it and then see if it clears it up. Then it could be fuel system related rather than engine related. And obviously I live in England, so it's now starting to piss down with rain. It's like proper raining now, but the show must go on. Once you let your oil filter drain a bit, just grab a rag and take it out carefully, and there it is. Then just take the old filter out the housing and give it a clean, and as you can see there should be a seal on it. You will get a new seal in your oil filter kit, so take the old seal off. It's absolutely hammering it down right now. Take your new oil. So it's really raining it down right now. Take your new oil filter seal and place it on. And to make the oil filter housing easier to put back on, get a little bit of oil and put it around the seal. Then grab your oil filter, put your oil filter back on the housing and do it up. Now we can go back underneath and do up the sump bung. So now just give the sump a little bit of a clean to get off all of that oil, and then put your new sump bung back into the hole. Okay, so once you have done up your sump bung and your oil filter, you want to grab your oil. If you want to find out what type of oil and how much oil you need to use, click the link in the description and it will take you to the Castrol website, put in your reg or your car model and make, and then it will tell you how much and what type of oil you need. I am also going to be adding an oil treatment to my car because my car has done a lot of mileage, so it is also a good thing to add oil treatment to your car. Okay, and now that we've done that, we're going to let that sit and let that nicely sink in, and then we're going to do the fuel filter next. Fuel filters you need to do every 4 years unless your manufacturer says otherwise, especially diesels, because a lot of soot and oil builds up around the fuel filter, which can block up your fuel system, so you want to make sure to change your fuel filter every 4 years. Okay, so to do your fuel filter on an Audi A5, A6, 2011, 2010, quite a few Audis. There is, on the driver's side in the UK, on the passenger side in America, there is this tray here that's by the jacking point. There'll be a couple of 10mm bolts and some trim clips, and the trim will come down, and then there will be some 10mm nuts that are holding on this cage. Then reveal the fuel filter here. So you're going to want to disconnect this clip here on this side and disconnect this clip on the other side as well, and that fuel filter will come straight out. Once the old one has come off, make sure you have your drain tray underneath and put the new one back on. And then once you have your fuel filter in, all of your trims put back on and your oil cap back on, you can start the engine. When you start the engine, just allow it to run at idle until it gets warm, just to make sure all of the engine oil goes through the system, all of the cleaner goes through the system, and just to keep an eye and make sure there's no leaks. After you've let your engine run and it's warmed up, you can now also do things such as check your coolant level and make sure that's at the maximum. If you only need a little bit of a top up, like my one does, you can do so with water. However, if your level is very, very low, like below the minimum, I'd recommend using a ready mixture coolant. And then last but not least, another important part of your service is your cabin filter, otherwise known as a pollen filter. This is especially important if you are like me and you have hay fever, because you are allergic to grass. Keeping your pollen filter or cabin filter fresh every single year will help keep all of that pollen out, and you'll actually be able to breathe without sneezing in your car. Pollen filters are located in a variety of different places. They could be inside the glove box here, underneath here, sometimes in the sides of the center consoles. They could be in the driver's side, or they could even be behind the scuttle panel. Okay, so Audi have actually made it relatively easy to fit their cabin filters. You just go to the passenger compartment underneath the glove box, and there should be this fabric sort of plasticky, styrofoamy feeling trim here with these 3 screws. So you got one here, and one back here, and these you can just twist out with your fingers, and then if you just grab it and pull it out, and it will reveal where the cabin filter sits. And then you just grab the filter and it slides out to reveal your cabin filter. And then you grab your new cabin filter and just put it back into the cabin filter housing and slide the cover back on. Then you just put the bit of foam back where it was and put the screws back in. Oh my god. Oh, I actually really hurt my back. And now that we are finished with the service, we can take the car back off the axle stands and put it back on the floor. Halfords. Okay, and once you have done servicing your car, of course, we have to reset the service interval light. So on the Audi, every single car is different. Sometimes it'll be on the stalk, sometimes you have to do it with an OBD scanner. However, on the Audi, if you select the car button, it will take you to the menu of the car. Scroll down to where it says service interval display, select that, and then scroll down one more time and select reset oil change interval and click yes. Now again, it says either 9,400 miles or 365 days. And of course, you also want to check your oil level, so select the car menu, scroll down to oil level, and it should show you your oil level. Okay, and once you have finished the service on your car, you want to make sure you give the car a quick road test. This can literally be a mile around the block. This is just to make sure there's no knocking noises, that the car drives all okay, and everything like that. And that is all. I hope you all have learned how to service your car. Again, petrol and diesel, all of the services are going to be exactly the same. Of course, the only difference being that petrol is going to have spark plugs, whereas diesel is going to have glow plugs, and diesel also has a fuel filter. Unless you have an older petrol, then it might also have a fuel filter. I hope you enjoyed the video though, and I hope you learned something new today. As always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like down below, and if you do want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you can be the first to see my videos. That is everything. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. That's it for now though. I'll see you all next time, but for now, peace.